around the globe, the maldistribution of wealth, the desperate plight of millions of people in underdeveloped countries, when you see so few haves and so many have-nots, when you see the greed and the concentration of power within, did you ever have a moment of doubt about capitalism and whether greed's a good idea to run on?
Well, first of all, tell me, is there some society you know that doesn't run on greed? You think Russia doesn't run on greed? You think China doesn't run on greed? What is greed? Of course, none of us are greedy. It's only the other fellow who's greedy. The world runs on individuals pursuing their separate interests.
But it seems to reward not virtue as much as ability to manipulate the system.
And what does reward virtue? You think a communist commissar rewards virtue? You think a Hitler rewards virtue? You think, excuse me, if you'll pardon me, do you think American presidents reward virtue? Do they choose their appointees on the basis of the virtue of the people appointed or on the basis of their political clout? Is it really true that political self-interest is nobler somehow than economic self-interest? You know, I think you're taking a lot of things for granted. And just tell me where in the world you find these angels who are going to organize society for us.
You know, economists are in fact not economists at all. They're propagandists of money value. And you'll find that all their models basically get down to token exchanges that are to the profit of one side or both sides or whatever, but they're completely disconnected from the actually existing world of reproduction.
In Ohio, an old man failed to pay his electric bill. You may be familiar with the case. And the electric company turned off the electricity and he died. The reason they turned it off was because it wouldn't have been profitable for them to keep it on because he didn't pay his bill. Do you believe that was right?
The responsibility really lies not on the electric company for turning it off, but on those of this man's neighbors and friends and associates who are not charitable enough to enable him as an individual to meet the electric bill.
Did I hear that right? Did he just say the death of a man caused by not having money was the responsibility of other people, or in effect charity? Well then, I guess we're going to need a whole lot of infomercials, little miserable coin slot donations for bodega counters, and a bunch of pickle jars for the billion people now starving to death on this planet because of the very system Milton Friedman promotes.
You're listening to the Election Fallout on OppositionRadio.com.
And welcome to episode 32 here on ElectionFallout.com. I am joined, as always, by Mike Cook from Orillia, Ontario. My name is Tony Lofen, and on this show we would like to wish Milton Friedman, the progenitor of the Chicago School of Economics, who gave us supply-side economics, Reaganomics, trickle-down economics, any kind of economics that are used to justify shoveling money to the rich, while saying it somehow that benefits other people other than the rich, for example, the poor. We'd like to wish him a 100th birthday. Happy birthday, Milton.
Happy birthday, Milton.
Yeah. How's it going, Mike?
Pretty good. You know, I was just listening to the clip you played, and the one thing I thought at the very end there was Milton Friedman kind of had his own what like Obama's going through in the States there. He kind of made the same statement where they're all saying in the United States, you always hear this, you didn't build that, and they're nailing Obama on this speech that he gave, which was, you know, an attempt at an impassioned speech. But I think Milton Friedman kind of just said the same thing from the other side.
Yeah, I found that those the little collage that I did there kind of interesting. When, for example, you heard some of Milton Friedman's rhetorical techniques. So if you criticize capitalism, he will take the element of capitalism that you're criticizing, ascribe it to other forms of organization, and attack them based on also having that element and being worse than what you're criticizing, which is capitalism. If you go through and you listen to some of his samples, then you will see that this happens on a consistent basis, and it's very disingenuous. And you hear
pattern not too dissimilar to Sun Media.
Absolutely. Well, let's put it this way. Much of the economic thinking that inspires the people on Sun TV comes directly from Milton Friedman. You know, he espouses a viewpoint wherein it's each man for himself. It's a socially Darwinist kind of way of thinking, and if people cannot perform in the economy and extract the necessities of life, tough beans, you should die for that. And the way he justifies this is saying that that kind of system, that way of thinking, has been more successful than any other form of thinking in history or any other form of organization in terms of lifting people out of poverty and creating wealth. I think that we can see that's not the case. Okay.
No.
The 4 pillars of Chicago School: Reaganomics, supply side economics, trickle-down economics, whatever you want to call it. They keep on developing different handles for it. Kind of like you know, what's it called? Blackwater. You know, that private mercenary firm that goes in and does the dirty work for the American military in third world countries. How they change their names so that nothing sticks to them for too long. The 4 pillars of all of those things, right, which are the same thing. 1 is cut government spending. Okay. 2 would be to reduce the income tax and capital gains tax for the wealthy. 3 would be to reduce regulation of the economy. 4 would be to control the money supply to combat inflation. And we see all of these elements active today in Stephen Harper's approach to running the Canadian economy, which is very sad. So this is why I wanted to bring up Milton Friedman, encourage people to check him out, and basically develop a foundational type knowledge of what Stephen Harper is currently doing to the economy of Canada.
Yeah, that's definitely what we try to do with our show. And you could have just opened with something mindless like the Olympics. I mean, where everybody else is.
Yeah. If I sounded a little distracted, Mike, you know, it's because I'm trying to watch the Olympics and talk to you at the same time.
I caught you.
Yeah, because I don't think you can be patriotic or a good citizen without gluing yourself to the TV set, watching all the advertising, and finding out for yourself who the best synchronized diver, for example, is in the world.
Yeah, I don't watch the Olympics. It seems like such a huge waste of money when there's all this military equipment to invest in and oil wars to be fought, you know?
Oh, yeah. So you don't think that we should be spending money on the Olympics? We should be pouring more money into our war effort, for example?
Well, geez, that only seems unreasonable, and that seems to be the current modus operandi of the Harper government.
Yeah.
So, you know, but I guess he's got to buy into.
But let's not dwell on the evil doings of the Harper government. Let's get back to the Olympics. I haven't been following, but I happened to catch a headline that we got, and this is why I brought up synchronized diving. I think we took 3rd place in women's synchronized diving. Did you know that?
I didn't.
I don't know what we've done since then, but I mean, that was the gold medal, or not the medal itself, that put us into a tie with such incredibly athletic countries such as Moldova, the Ukraine, Cuba, and other places like that. Yeah, we're pulling up. At my last checking, we were pulling up tied for 22nd place with a whole bunch of countries with 1 medal. But that was a few days ago. That I don't even know how long it's been going on for.
You got to see when it's the Olympics.
Yeah, that's why I'm trying to catch up while we do this show. You know what I mean? I always find it ironic, and to be honest, I don't really give a crap about the Olympics. I'm just kind of fooling. The thing about the Olympics is I've never really understood why we revere people in our society the way we do for the reasons that we do. You know what I mean? Like, you got to admit, someone that competes in the Olympics, let's say, I don't know, archery, for example, you know what I mean? In order to be the best of the best at shooting arrows into a target, it's probably something that these highly trained, incredibly athletic people do for hours and hours and hours a day. Do you know what I mean? Like while you're shooting arrows into a target, I'm sure you cannot be, you know, expanding your mind or informing yourself or reading books or anything of that nature. You know, the kind of things that you and I might think people might do to improve themselves.
And even worse. Sorry, go ahead.
Yeah. So when I think about the, you know, the most skilled archers of the world, these are people that I can't imagine having a conversation with.
Well, only if they win a gold medal, then you have to talk about them all the time.
Yeah, you have to revere them as national heroes. I mean, like, I don't know how many people know the names of those 2 synchronized divers that brought home the bronze for Canada to instill national pride in us. But I bet you $50 more people know their names than know the name of the Canadian who won the Nobel Prize for medicine last year, for example.
That's a very
you know
good
what I mean?
point.
And I'd like to thank Canadian-born Ralph Steinman for going out there and bringing home that incredible honor for Canada, and probably saving anyone who wins a Nobel Prize in medicine has probably saved a ton of lives, right? You'd think.
You'd think.
By advancing human knowledge and making medical breakthroughs, which probably have applications to life-saving. You know, I don't know. Am I being a negative Nancy by being down in the Olympics like this?
I don't think so. I think it's something that's important to talk about. You know, everybody else is busy talking about the Olympics, and it is a huge distraction, you know, whenever it comes up, and it just does seem to be, you know, I guess it's our opinion ultimately, but it does seem to be quite the waste of time.
Yeah.
So.
Well, I do get it. Like, okay, now that you've given me license to be a negative Nancy about the Olympics, one headline I caught was the fact that half the seats are empty in most of those events.
Well,
and I love it. I love that. You know, absolutely love it. I say, you know what? The more people that don't go to the Olympics, the more empty seats there are for, you know, water polo or whatever the hell. Or, you know what I mean?
Right.
The better, as far as I'm concerned, because I think it's an insult to every single person that the British government has asked to tighten their belts and undergo austerity measures. You know, I think it's an insult to those people when that government spent, what is it, $15 billion on the games or something like that? Mm-hmm. And in the meantime, tuition rates are skyrocketing for people who are trying to make a place in this world by educating themselves, you know? So you can invest in a stadium for such things as, I don't know, give me a sport, discus throwing or whatever. You know what I mean?
Something that people
such noble pursuits
don't even think about unless the Olympics are going to happen.
Yeah, such noble pursuits by incredibly gifted human beings as the triple jump. You know what I mean? Like, if I don't find out soon who the best triple jumper in the world is, then I just don't know what I'm going to do.
Well, I can't sleep at night without knowing that.
Yeah. Well, and the other thing is, have you had enough? I avoid Olympic news, okay, but I can't avoid all knowledge of what Michael Phelps is doing at the Olympics. I'm just unsuccessful at avoiding it completely, because when you scan down Facebook, there's people talking about Michael Phelps and stuff like that.
You log into Yahoo and
I don't know. Apparently he just got his world record 19th medal in the games. You know.
Wow.
Yeah, well, congratulations to Michael Phelps.
Congratulations,
you know,
I guess.
You're quite a swimmer. I don't know, like, the thing is, it seems to me that if anyone were to enter swimming in the Olympics, given the fact that there's 30,000 different swimming events, like the 25-meter breaststroke, the 35-meter breaststroke, the 75-meter breaststroke, you know, the 100-meter breaststroke. Like, if you enter enough of these swimming contests, don't you think by the law of averages, you might come up with a hell of a lot of medals just by random chance?